Obviously, the big story here, CM Punk's return to AEW.
Wow.
Rich and I were teasing this for weeks on end.
Mm-hmm.
So I will go down the timeline of things that I knew. I mean, obviously, it's not official yet, and everything could change, right? We know that. But listen, I'm going to lean heavy towards this, that it's happening. I'm leaning much heavier than some other people. I know that Dave was saying, like, it's never official until it happens, and he's absolutely right. You guys should listen to Dave's show with Garrett from this morning on Observer. Good job there. And they kind of broke this down also, but I have a couple things to add to this.
So as per Fightful and Andrew, a collaborative effort, CM Punk's return has been tentatively planned by AEW, and he recently said he is willing to return. Dax has been saying it for a while on his podcast. You know, that headline has been making the rounds. Listen, great, right? Controversy equals cash. As a fan, I guess I want to see the guy back. You know, as a person, I want all sides to be happy. You know, what do you make of this situation, Andrew?
From the beginning of this whole saga from last year, I stuck to what I was always told, and it's if they could make this work, they will make it work.
Right.
There's too much money. There's too much on the line here. You know, a lot of this is beyond just CM Punk and the Bucks and everything. Right?
Oh, yeah.
This is, you know, the industry is constantly evolving.
Mm-hmm.
You have a top tier star that was created, you know, in the 2000s. We're in this era now. We're beyond those 80s and 90s guys. We're now in the 2000s. He has a big name. He has a drawing ability.
Yeah.
He has a marketability that's astronomical in wrestling. Why would you not try to make it work? A lot of important stuff is happening in the industry this year. Or you have an opportunity to do something very big here. Why would you leave that money on the table? And I think all these guys, listen, at the end of the day, we all know these are all millionaires. And Tony's,
Exactly.
Tony's possibly a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
So you have this unique opportunity to create a very unique moment in the history of professional wrestling. They did it with Punk coming back, and we saw the results. He was very impactful for that company. Unfortunately, he got injured a bunch of times, and then the scrum thing happened. But listen, I'm not interjecting my personal opinion on this, because if you want my personal opinion, I'm always what will make us the most money and what will bring success to the company.
Right.
My personal opinion on CM Punk or Tony, if I'm working there, has nothing to do with the business.
Right.
Has nothing to do with making money. So you have this opportunity. Whatever happened at that scrum, which was insanity, whatever happened in that locker room, which was insanity, happened, and now you need to get over it half a year later.
Exactly.
So, with that said, this is happening. Let's go through the timeline of events. A while ago, I cannot remember, MG I'm sure could pull it up, I was told that there is a Saturday show in the works for AEW. Originally, when I asked why... Because I was thinking, I'm like, okay, you know what? You could put it on a Saturday. You could do Ring of Honor. It is not a Ring of Honor. And as far as I know, Warner was not interested in a Ring of Honor product at that moment when they were working. I know that the conversation happened. I know that they weren't, maybe not interested is not the right word, but they weren't going to put on a Ring of Honor show.
Right.
But, you know, it's a contract year. They're working a contract. Obvious reasons why this wouldn't happen. When I asked, like, what is the concept here, I was told it's to get more exposure for guys that are not on TV as much as they should be. So I'm thinking, okay, Takeshita, right? You got guys like Takeshita over there. You got a very deep roster.
Let's say like an Eddie Kingston, a Takeshita.
Eddie Kingston,
Commander,
Takeshita, Commander, Roosh, okay.
Miro,
Kip Sabian, like a bunch of guys.
A bunch of those guys to get more exposure. And I'm like, the way I heard it initially was that it was going to be like a C show. Okay, B show, C show, whatever you want to call it. No insult to talent.
D show, E show, because there's a lot. Yeah,
there's a lot. No insult to talent, obviously. But
can I interject something real quick?
Yeah.
So, you know, you were saying like WWE is primed to become an even more entertainment monster, with the keyword being entertainment, right? Do you think at this point Tony needs to shift away from the original inception of AEW, which was sports based, kind of in line with his sports franchises? Because it is a sports based presentation, you know? That's the major difference visually.
I think they got to get careful. because here's what happens. You will never be able. I shouldn't say that. You are not going to be able to pull off the WWE look and product without looking like you are just a replica or a poor copy of what they are doing. We saw that happen with Impact, right? It lost all of its charm.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, they're going to put on another show. And then there was like conversation that maybe they could do a 6 o'clock show. Because remember, 8 o'clock, that's prime time. There's a lot of sports you're competing with. There's a lot of stuff you're competing with. Also, I looked at I had a conversation with Brandon Thurston weeks ago over this time slot. You know, he sent over like the numbers, like the ratings that they've done in those time slots on TBS and TNT, and one was abysmal, and it did not track whatsoever for ratings, and the other was very high. So I was thinking, I'm like, well, if they do it, they would have to put it on TBS, where there isn't much going on at that time.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, something's changing.
Yeah.
I'm hearing something's different here. Then the CM Punk conversation happens.
Fascinating.
You know, I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, you know what? It only makes sense for certain things. Now, the 8 o'clock, okay, so we'll go into what now we know, right?
Yeah.
It is not a C show. This is an A show. B show, okay? There obviously is a group of people that do not want to work with CM Punk.
Wild.
Okay?
Yeah.
A1. That's what I was told. A1/B.
Okay.
So, you know, there's a lot of chatter. And a lot of us talk, you know? Like, we all talk.
Yeah.
I'm talking, you know, you kind of piece this together and you're like, okay, I'm not the only one hearing this.
Right,
This isn't
right.
from one source.
Right.
This isn't one person. But it was too early for me to come out and say, hey, this is happening, because I also don't want to ruin anything.
Yeah, you don't want to blow it.
Listen, guys, I'm a media guy, okay? I do the show. I'm not looking to do exposés on people. So now I'm being told it's an A1 show. It may be 2 hours. So here is what I understand.
The puzzle pieces are dropping at this point.
This show looks to be starting, and I'm going to pick the date here, on June 16th, 17th? June 17th, okay?
Okay.
In Chicago.
That's a Saturday night.
At what is it, Wintrust Arena? Okay?
Yeah.
Saturday night show. I'm hearing it's a 2-hour show from 8 to 10 on Saturdays. How they're going to do this, because there's a lot of NBA, there's a lot of sports, it's not an easy time slot to be on, prime time on Saturday. You also have UFC, you have WWE pay-per-views, you have other sporting stuff. They might get preempted.
Everything. You got Netflix, you got Amazon, you got stuff that you want to watch,
you know,
and you're not concerned about.
They may be preempted some days. I don't know. That's me interjecting, you know, based on seeing how this works. I also believe this is going to be on TNT. Multiple people I spoke to said probably TNT. So that makes it even harder.
So just to interject something real
Yes.
quick, that's the week after the NBA Finals, I do believe.
Yes, it is the week after the NBA Finals, which is a much easier time to be in.
Right. So that's what they're trying to avoid the NBA altogether.
You now have some very strange things going on with the time slot. So why add another show? Right? You got 2 hours of Rampage, 2 hours of Dynamite. You got an hour of Rampage. You got Battle of the Belts that happens also.
Right.
You also have the Saturday show. Then you got a Sunday pay-per-view, except for the November pay-per-view. That's on Saturday. So many moving parts here, right?
It's really
Why?
interesting.
Because there are certain people that will not work with CM Punk. Okay?
That is fascinating.
Now, I don't know if the conversation started because they had Punk and they're like, okay, we got to figure this out. So they went to Warner with this, or it kind of manifested over time. They were going to do another show. This was up for, you know, something for them. They were discussing it, and the CM Punk stuff, the opportunity came.
Wild.
Right?
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know that piece.
You don't know what it's going to be called, right?
I do know what it's going to be called.
Really?
Collision.
Is that really?
Yeah. So we now know this is most likely happening. Not June 21st. Is it June 21st episode? This week's Dynamite, it was announced that the June 21st episode was also announced at Wintrust. Excuse me, hold on. I'm off here. What are you talking about, MG? Am I wrong in my notes?
No, you're not. It's they announced on Dynamite that they're going back to Wintrust Arena on the
On June-
21st of June.
But not on the 16th, not on the other date, the 17th.
Right. So whatever they're doing, that's on a Wednesday. That's on Dynamite. So
Okay, maybe
don't know.
I'm wrong on that date then. Hold,
Mhm.
don't hold me to it. But I believe I heard it was June.
okay, it very well could be. I'm just saying that's the date they're going back is actually a Dynamite show. So
What are you gonna do? You gonna do a Saturday show in the same building and then go back on Dynamite?
Yeah, why not? It'll happen.
If
you're
you know
in
what, maybe I'm
Chicago-
wrong here. Okay?
Chicago's a hot wrestling city. It'll
now I'm
happen.
confused. Now I'm very confused by this because I had something else in my notes. But
Yeah, thanks,
I'll check
MG.
on that. Either way, I heard it's June. I heard the announcement's coming in mid-May.
Yeah.
I believe the upfronts are happening.
Yeah.
So that would be a good time to do it. I would imagine that would be the best time to do it. So probably mid-May, you'll get this announcement. I don't know if Punk will be announced for that, but I mean, listen. I from what I have been told, I think he realizes what an absurd moment this was for them. From what I know, he really wants to make this work, and he is. Listen, you could say whatever you want about the guy, right? You could say that he's a rational, he's a hot, or whatever. But at the end of the day, he knows the importance of the wrestling business,
Good business,
the
man.
success of AEW, and how important this is for the entire industry.
Absolutely.
And if listen, I'm putting out a scenario, but let's say the Punk never comes back, right? And
Right.
and he's left with this crazy ending to this career,
Yeah.
right? And AEW goes away in 10 years.
Mhm.
He will be the pivotal moment that company fell apart. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, you could donate by leaving a super thanks, which is located below. For more videos like this, full episodes of the Mat Men podcast, all our specials and extras, be sure to like and subscribe below or wherever you find your podcasts.